It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe. This is my show, The Legends. I have a very special guest in the House of the Legends today, and he's been around for a very long time. I would say that he's a real icon. I bring to you Mr. Ralph McDaniel.
Thanks for having
What's
me.
going on? Hey, Ralphie, what's going on?
Good.
How can they say uncle?
Exactly. Say uncle.
Okay, man. It's good to know that we family.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
you know,
indeed.
we're going to start from the beginning of 1983. Now, the question I want to ask you is, what were you doing before 1983, before you actually started getting into the brand of Video Music Box?
I had graduated from college and I was working as an engineer at the TV station. So I was like a technical director, cameraman, lighting guy, all of that kind of stuff. So I was more on the technical side of television.
Right.
And also I was working in the clubs as a DJ. So I had gone from being in Queens at this place called Encore to eventually I lived in Flatbush at the time in Brooklyn.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I was doing the music thing. And me and my man Mike Walker, we used to play at this spot. It eventually became this club called the Arc.
Well, you know what? I played there when it was Club Prince.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And so I DJ'd and I played, you're open, you had a couple of house tracks there, and I played mostly house music, you know, and because at that time, like I was heavy into house. I'm still into house music,
right?
But the scene that I was, kind of doing the club thing was what was going on. So me and my friend Jason Lowe used to do a night Saturday nights at this club, and look up Jason Lowe, rest in peace.
Sure. I know Jason very well.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay.
So I was DJing, I was doing that, trying to figure out where I was going to go with it. And then I got this idea after watching hours of boring programming on WNYC Channel 31 that maybe we should do something with music. And that's where the Video Music Box bug started.
I'm going to go back to the point of when I was actually playing in Brooklyn. I played at the Masonic Temple, and I was playing downstairs, and then I went upstairs, and this guy was actually doing videos with music. So I think this is when I actually incorporated about VJs, you know? Yeah. So what's your take on that? Because this is something that was actually starting a new era besides being a DJ and a VJ. So can you tell the viewers what's the difference?
Well, for me, as a DJ, I just played vinyl, or now you play, off your computer, off your laptop, Serato, MP3. But I always wanted to incorporate the visuals. And the first time I ever saw it was at this place called The Loft. And David Mancuso would just project anything, it could be whatever, mountains, lions running, it would just be something. And I always thought that was interesting, when you're playing the music, that you had something that you were interested in projecting on the wall. And that was kind of like a downtown. If you ever look at, some of like the hippie downtown vibes in the 70s, that
like Woodstock or something like that.
Yeah, they always had something projecting on
the wall.
Right, okay. I think it came from there. Mm-hmm. There was a point in between me doing the Video Music Box thing that I worked with this company, and we went to like Ivy League schools, and they had this technology that allowed you to play videos and and play music, but it wasn't like how it is now, where you can control the pitch and manipulate the video. It was like kind of like just play it, and they had like mostly rock and roll videos, and they hired me, And I was like, yo, we need some hip hop, we need some R&B, we need some house music. And they didn't have that stuff. And so I started to go to some of my friends and get some of these videos,
right,
and play them at, like, you know, Harvard and Yale and all these schools up and down the East Coast. And it was hot, you know, like they wanted that over, you know, some of the rock and roll stuff, because these were young people. They were into hip hop and house, and they weren't like some of the 70s rock and roll heads. So yeah,
you know, and you know
the one thing I say too is when you ask me about the difference, it's a different experience. You know, when I play now, when I VJ now, you know, there's a large number of people that might be at the bar. They're looking at it on the screen at the bar. They're just so taken back by some of the stuff that we used to look at in the 80s,
right?
You know, early Michael Jackson, the early MC Lights and Run DMCs and stuff like that. They really enjoy that part.
The question I want to ask you is that when you started doing this, Ralph, you know, there was no Wi-Fi, there was no social media, you know, things like that. So what was the secret to your marketing strategy to actually, you know, get their attention?
Really, the main thing was the flyers. You know, you had to have flyers, you had to have distribution to get them out to the right places. We used to go to all of the clubs that we thought that where our audience might be at. We knew that it was important to create something that nobody else created and look like something that nobody else was doing. And that was always my thing from DJing, from just DJing or from VJing, was to create an experience, an idea that nobody else did. And I got that really from like listening to guys or watching what the Paradise Garage did with Larry Levan. Like every week it was a different theme. They might change the whole look of the club. You know, I said to myself, we have to do that so that we stay fresh every week, or every party is different and it feels different. So that all comes from, you know, me just kind of watching early 70s DJs. Okay.
So when you decided to actually change the game, what was your first actual video?
Well, video that we played on Video Music Box.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as far as your creation.
Oh, that we made.
Right.
The first video we did was Roxanne Shante,
okay.
Roxanne's Revenge. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you know what? That's not true. The first video we did was Niobe, Please Don't Go, and it was on Fever Records.
Okay.
And so I thought that Fever Records, because it's the Fever, was going to put out like a Lovebug Starsky record or a Sweet G record. And they wanted to do a freestyle record, Niobe, Please Don't Go, I guess because they felt like they could market that a little bit further.
Right. And so let's talk about Video Music Box. Now, when you actually decided to actually put that production out, did you feel that it would actually go as far as it did?
No, I had no idea. You know, I just knew that I loved music. I knew that my friends that I grew up with, that I did parties with, would be like, oh, wow, it was another form of marketing. You know, like, oh, Ralph's on TV. You know, he got a show on TV. You know, I'm a fan of Don Cornelius. I'm a fan of Dick Clark. You know, I watched those shows, Wolfman Jack, you know.
Midnight Special, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I used to stay up, you know, oh, they're gonna have Shaka Khan on here tonight. Oh my God. You know, like I'd be so happy. There used to be this show called Soul. It was on Channel 13. And it was by this guy, Ellis Hazlett. And he was more cultural. So he would have like Gil Scott-Heron, he'd have like Stanley Turrentine, he had Stevie Wonder on his 21st birthday on that show.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, if you go to Channel 13 and you type in search Soul, it'll come up. I was a fan of that. You know, it was something special to me. And I was like, how do they do this? You know, and I just had to figure out how to do it.
So through this whole platform, and did you actually in the beginning just to, you know, you started developing your hosting skills. So you had to actually, what did you do to actually, you know, get into hosting with the people that you were actually hosting? You know, I
didn't want to be on TV.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't want to be Don Cornelius. I didn't want to be Dick Clark. I just wanted to be the voice.
Right.
So in the beginning, the early Video Music Box, you don't see me, you just hear my voice. You know, it's like, hey, this is VJ Ralph McDaniels. You're watching New York's #1 video show, Video Music Box.
Right.
And you would see the video. Oh, here's something new from from Lionel Richie, or here's something new from Rick James, or here's something new from Full Force. You know, you never see me.
Right, right.
Somebody at the station said, yo, you know, people want to see you, man. You know, like, you got to show your face. And I was like, no, I don't want to be a star. I don't want to be, you know, like, that was too much pressure. And I said, you know, this girl that worked with us, Cheryl Questel, she said, no, you got to do it. Let's get it together. And let's get you on camera. And the first shoot I did was at the Roxy.
Okay.
And the Roxy had a program there, and it was like Fat Boys and some other people, and Force MDs and Ty-Mac. Remember Ty-Mac from the last? Yeah. All these people, and I interviewed them. And and that was the first time I ever did it. And so once I did it, you know, I was comfortable with it, and I was like, all right, let's go.
You know, when you actually did it, did the record companies contact you about, you know, the certain things you were actually doing at the time? Because what you was actually doing was giving more traction to the record companies as well as the artists.
Oh yeah, well, I'll tell you a real cool story about guy that we know, Full Force, and Bow-Legged Lou. Bow-Legged Lou and I lived down the block from each other.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and I was actually the engineer for like 20 years.
Oh, okay. Well, well, you did a great job. And so, they had out their first album, and Columbia Records at the time wanted to charge video shows to get the videos. And so, they would go like, yo, you got our video. And I'll be like, I don't have it because Columbia Records wants to charge me. We don't have money to pay for videos. Like if I do it with Columbia, then I got to do it with Universal, then I got to do RCA. Everybody's going to charge me. I can't do that. Right. And so Lou was like, we want to charge you. Then I was like, yeah. And so they went to Columbia. They spoke to the person I was speaking to. Like a week later, I was getting the videos in the mail, and it was all video, all genres, everything, rock and roll, Bruce Springsteen, everything was on the lay. I was happy, I was like, yo, thank you. But if it wasn't for Full Force explaining to the record company how important Video Music Box was to the community, they wouldn't have gotten it. They were still on their MTV thing. And I'm like, MTV's not going to play Full Force. They're going to play Bruce Springsteen. They're going to play whoever, Cyndi Lauper, that kind of thing. They're not going to play Full Force. So what? So Full Force is just not get no video play at all. And so, shows like mine and others across the country began to get videos from artists like Full Force and other R&B and hip hop groups. So that was the beginning of opening it up to the record company, because they didn't get it. They were just on some MTV. I'm like, MTV ain't playing nothing. They're only playing Michael Jackson. That's all they want.
Well, you know what? We're going to take a slight break, and we'll be right back with the infamous Ralph McDaniels.
It's not just mine. It's on her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house.
What's up? It's the one and only hip hop gamer, the legend himself, Ralph McDaniels. This is very, very special for me, and this is an epic G moment. So, Ralph, here's the question, man. What was the moment in your life when you feel like you was at your lowest and you feel like things couldn't get any worse, but you managed to find strength in that moment that allowed you to not only be successful today, but also be a legend and a pioneer and a huge influencer over the culture that we love?
I mean, I think for me, it was like, coming out of high school, trying to figure out what I wanted to do in my life. I knew I was going to college, but I really didn't know what I was going to do. And then, like getting into the music, the hip hop, and not just hip hop, because I was around before hip hop came about, but I started DJing and I started becoming somebody through DJing. And, and people were like, you'll get Ralph to play, let Ralph do the party. And I was like, oh, people like what I do, and I think that is what changed the game for me, because I didn't went to college, and for television and film, I always incorporated DJing and making music and playing music into what I did, In college, when I started Video Music Box, it was the same concept of me playing music. When I started making music videos, it was the same concept. Movies, whatever it is that I worked on, it all stemmed from that moment of becoming a DJ and moving the crowd with the turntable.
Wow, yo, God bless you, DJ Ralph McDaniels. This is the one and the only. I thank you so much. This has been a G moment. And before I go, I personally want to tell you this. What we just experienced tonight, I'm going to tell you something right now. I wanted to say this on the mic, but Video Music Box, I feel, should be a podcast now. What you did tonight is content that needs to happen either every day or every week or however you want to do it. I'll help you. I don't care. Come inside. All right, cool. Because video music, this needs to be a brand in itself, not just a content piece, but a lifestyle. Video Music Box. Love you, bro. Thank you so much for everything you've done. That's it. It's over.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Don't turn around. You ain't really down. Playing the games you do. Someday, everything will be alright. Know that different people make the world go round.
Because of you, my dreams are coming true.
You're the sun that erases my rainy day.
Right now, I don't care who's watching.
For whatever the reason there might be.
With your love by my side, the world will be mine. You're the one for me.
Yeah. Nobody.
Everyone, we're back. This is my show, The Legends, and we are talking to Ralph McDaniels. What's up, Ralph?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, man.
You know, it's such a pleasure to have you because there's a lot of people that looked up to you in the days because due to the fact of not only the production you was doing, but it was also the message behind it. And you've actually given back in a lot to society as far as, you know, developing a culture for the young people, you know, giving that message of positivity, you know. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, I come from the time of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and, you know, the Black Panthers and, you know, doing better for ourselves, you know. And so I felt like, you know, my parents installed that in me. They fought hard for equality. And, you know, and it was for me to take it now to the next level. You know, where as children are supposed to take it further. And that's what I was taught as a young man. And just what I teach to my daughter and my son the same thing is that, you know, okay, take it further than me. Let's do better. Let's uplift. A lot of times in media today, you see people trying to make people look bad,
right?
You know, like the shock jocks and that kind of thing, and reality shows and that kind of. We don't come from that place, you know. That's corny, especially with, you know, Black and brown folks. We can't afford to be, you know, lose anything. We got to continue to gain and continue to move forward and continue to build our community, and that's where I come from. So I just do that every day. If it's giving a guy like Nas a shot, or a guy like Jay-Z a shot, or, you know, a young director like Hype Williams, you know, whoever it was, you know, I gave people opportunity and said, go ahead, run with it. Let's see what happens, you know. So that's where I come from.
You know, it's a very positive thing because our youth really needs that. You know, we need that positive impact, you know, and I feel that through music, it's a very good source as well. And you projected that very well because I know a lot of people used to run home from school, got to see Video Music Box, you know what I mean? And so let's talk about the challenge because you changed it from digital. I mean, you changed it from, you know, from USF to digital back in those days. And was it more simpler then, you know, dealing with that, you know, because the digital phase now is easy. It's very simple because it's very much integrated. So let's talk about it, the source before that, and, you know, how you actually impacted that.
Well, we're still on TV. So people say that TV is like ancient, you know, so we're still on TV. Channel 25 in New York City and people know we started on channel 31 from back in the days, the U31
Right.
people used to run home. And now, you know, there's the digital age of it. So we have, you know, parts of it that we put out digitally. I do a live on Instagram every Wednesday and Thursday at 9:30, where I do a video mix and talk with people about whatever may be going on. It may be, and especially it started really from the pandemic. And you know, it's like, okay, how do we connect with our people? And we just started going live. And so we do talks. We talk about whatever may be happening. If it's George Floyd, if it's Black Lives Matter, if it's are we going to take the vaccine or not? You know, it has to do, you know, with keeping up to date with what's really happening right now, and using music as well to soften up the conversation a little bit sometimes. You know, music can do that. You know, I grew up listening to, one of my biggest influences is Gary Bird.
Now you're taking me back. WWRL.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the thing I loved about Gary Bird, because he used to come on late night, like at the time when I was listening to him as a kid, he was the youngest person at the station.
Right.
So he would do overnights. You know, he didn't have juice. He wasn't in the daytime. He was at night, late at night. And it was the GBE experience.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
And he would talk about a particular topic and then play a song that related exactly to what he was talking about. And I would be like, that was the most amazing transition I've ever heard in my life. And I used that. I picked up on it, and I would be like, what can we play after this conversation? You know, is it a Lil Wayne record? Is it a Chris Brown record? You know, is it a Jay-Z song? You know, whatever it is that makes it relevant for the audience.
You know, I had to laugh, and I was thinking about it in my mind right now. Besides Biz Markie, you guys play a lot of 45s, you know?
Oh.
So let's talk about the 45s, because I know Biz played a lot of 45s, you know, and that's taking it back to back in the day. So let's talk about your concept.
I think for me, I was watching Biz play 45s.
Okay.
And I had, you know, when I was a kid, I would collect 45 and I kept them. You know, I
got mine too. Believe it or not, I do.
Know, I wasn't playing them like that. You know, I wasn't thinking about it. And then my man DJ Ace from New York, crowd motivated DJ Ace, he invited me to come on his show, and he plays 45s. And I was like, yo, Ace, I don't have it like you got doubles or everything, man. I was like, I don't have this set up like that. He said, it doesn't matter. So, you know, I started playing and I did his show. And from there, you know, I just got the bug. So I started just collecting again. And it's a thing, you know, across the country, across the world, you know, where people are collecting 45s again, you know, and especially the hip hop stuff is super expensive, the old 45, you know, because they're rare. They didn't do a lot of 45.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I enjoy it. I enjoy it because, and you know, you make music. For you to make a 45, it only had to be like 3 minutes or so.
Right, exactly,
You had to edit it down.
Right.
That you got the best of whatever it was. And in that 3 minutes, you know, and it's an art to doing that 45 version.
Yeah. You know, I had double exposure on my show, and I told my story about actually the first 12-inch, you know, because when I was in Shaw Record Pool for a long time, and when I first got the records, you know, it was very funny because I played it on 33, and it, you know, and it was like double, you know, it started slurring on me. I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? But you know, technology has made it to an art now, you know, where we're actually doing music and we're producing it to our own perfection, where it doesn't burn out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My question to you, where do you want to be 5 years from now? Because you're still doing this thing, and it's like an epidemic, you know? So when do you feel it's actually going to stop for you, Ralph?
Well, you know, this year in 2020, last year in 2020, we started the Video Music Box Collection.org. And it's a nonprofit. And the whole idea of that was, or is to digitize everything that we have. I've been on TV for 38 years, and I was like, man, we have incredible moments, not just with musical artists from Stevie Wonder to Patti LaBelle to James Brown to, I mean, this is interviews and performances that we taped ourselves. And Nelson Mandela when he first came to the United States, and Jesse Jackson, and all of these incredible interviews and things that we did over the years that need to be established and put into some type of library or museum or some type of collection, which is what we created. So it's the videomusicboxcollection.org. It's our nonprofit. People can donate, and it's an expensive thing, to take all of this analog and make it digital, and you're doing it in real time. It's
Right.
not I can just zap an hour content and it becomes a digital file. We have to physically sit there and let it play for an hour, and then
Right.
tag exactly what it is. Where did it happen? What happened on that particular day? Why were you there? Who were the
Right.
other people that were there? And so we have some incredible performances, incredible interviews that people haven't seen, that, or if they did, they saw it once when it aired, back in the 80s or in the
Right.
90s. And that's our mission right now. And we're working with Howard University, we're working with Rice University, we're working with the Universal Hip Hop Museum, which is going to be coming soon. All these different organs, African American, Smithsonian, to make sure that our history is not forgotten. So my hashtag is like, Black History Matters, and Black History Music Matters. History music matters as well. So this is all part of, making sure that our legacy continues.
Right.
At Music Box 100 years from now when I'm long gone, and also making sure that we don't forget about, because if we leave it up to some of these bigger companies, they'll forget about what Black people did, and we don't want that to happen.
And it's good to know that you're for your people too. We don't forget where we came from. And that's a good thing, because people of color always look at that. If he's going to be real about it, is he going to be a sellout? If he's going to sell his soul, things of that nature. Quickly, Ralph, any shout outs?
Oh, wow.
You might got a million of them, but go ahead.
Tyrone, how you going to use my term on me? Shout
Hey,
out.
why not? Why not?
Hey, man, look, I just want to shout out the people that have been following us for over 38 years. I want to shout out, of course, Full Force and the whole family for hooking us up right now. All the people that, come from that late 70s vibe, that 80s vibe. Sometimes we don't connect as much. We don't see each other as much, but I'm a baby of that, and that's what made me do what I do today. And I'm just appreciative. Support videomusicboxcollection.org. You want the t-shirts, we got those too, videomusicbox.com. And I appreciate this, man, because these type of conversations there's so many people out there that I know, that I look forward to seeing on your program.
Okay. Well, listen, man, it's been a pleasure having you on my show, Ralph. Come again, and we'll do it again. And this has been another T-Lo video production, and stay tuned for another episode. Thank you.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
My assignment, my calling is to inspire, uplift.
You have to make sure your people are partying.
All I want to do is just bring joy to the dance floor and watch people dance.
T-Lo. It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.